Now, Lara, of course, knows who probably stole this from her, but she has no clear way of figuring that out, until she gets a letter from her dad sent to her years ago, specifically to be delivered on this date. It gives her a clue to find what he found when it comes to this first location of the first half of the Triangle of Light. Because of this, she's able to get there just a little bit after the bad guys do, in really dramatic fashion, and...
Thank you, boys.
Like, you're landing her in a jungle, guys. What if that truck fell in a tree? I mean, it doesn't, but come on now. Anyway, she drives her truck as far as she can through the jungle, and even though the bad guys are out front here, having the villagers try to pull down this big monolith to get inside the temple, Lara just strolls on through the back door. You guys didn't even look around or scout the area to figure out... I mean, you hired Alex West. He's also a Tomb Raider, and nobody thought to check to see if there was, like, an actual entryway. But no, you're gonna pull down the giant monolith because you're idiots. Look at Manfred Powell here, though. Look at this guy. He in no way tries to help. He sits there, you know, he has a bunch of fruits and servants for him. Like, he does not give a crap. He's letting everybody else do all the work. Like, this movie is so good at just making you hate him. And it's awesome. I also love when Manfred says they're running out of time, they need to hurry, that Alex is like, okay, well, I'm just gonna help pull too, because now one other person's gonna make a huge world of difference here, because that's how that works. Come on, man, I know you're trying, but you're the one who really should have figured out there was a back door. Meanwhile, Laura's being led around by a ghost girl. No, seriously, she's led around by a ghost girl. This happens at least twice in the movie, and neither time does it make any sense or have any context. There's no, like, explanation later for the ghost girl. She's just there, and then she's gone, and it's spooky. Woo! Anyway, Lara falls down a hole, which is very reminiscent of the opening to Tomb Raider Last Revelation, so I kind of like that scene. And she's able to grab some vines and then activates a glow stick in a well-lit area. Why did she turn that on? I can see. So you can see. I get using a glow stick, like, once you're in the corners to read the writing on the walls like she does, that part makes sense. But as soon as she's down there, she immediately turns it on as if it's really dark down here. But it's clearly... I can see, you can see around you, Lara. It's fine. If anything, that glow stick just gives away your position if you happen to fall in the same room as the Illuminati. Okay, Lara does her swing thing over to the higher level and begins looking around, translating text, doing Tomb Raider things, which is awesome. I'm glad they had this scene in here showing Lara Croft actually work at solving the puzzle in the room, because there is a puzzle here.
Right, so pretty much touch anything and you get your head chopped off.
Meanwhile, the Illuminati's doing their own thing. Alex figures out that they're supposed to use the swords to activate it, but Lara realizes that their podium they're standing on, the slot for the clock, is actually a fake, and they're supposed to use the one that's on her level. So she at first gets shot at, but manages to somehow convince Pal, mainly by pointing out that they'll have another 5,000 years to wait if they get this wrong, to throw her the clock so she can stick it in the right slot. And lo and behold, Lara Croft is of course correct. Now this next scene is fantastic and is just dripping in Tomb Raider goodness, and I love it. Lara jumps on this pendulum to get it to go forward. It's the extra weight and her momentum that actually gets the mechanism to activate properly, and then as soon as it's activated, the half of the triangle comes out and she reaches down and she grabs it from them, and then she's running because they're shooting at her, but then the temple guards get animated because there's giant monkeys and tigers and leopards and stuff, and they're mauling people's faces off, and then a giant statue shows up, and Lara's doing her shooty thing, and she's walking backwards up these ladder bridges. Do you have any idea how much concentration it takes to shoot dual pistols while you are backing up on one of these things so you don't lose your footing? This stunt work is awesome. And then she jumps sideways and launches the pendulum into this thing, and then she makes a run for it out of the place, and it's... I almost passed out of pure awesomeness. It happens sometimes. Don't worry, I'll be a moment. So Lara gets out, Alex gets out, Manfred gets out, but they realize they suddenly have a problem. See, Lara has half the triangle. Manfred, however, had Alex grab the clock. They need both of these things in order to fulfill their mutual goals. So Manfred offers Lara a chance to work with him. Lara tells him to get bent. Manfred does some creepy flirting. Lara tells him to shove off. He also tells her that apparently her father was a member of the Illuminati, which she doesn't believe. In any event, eventually Lara realizes that she does in fact have to work with them, and so agrees to go along, and Manfred must see the use in her as he doesn't have her immediately killed upon giving him the piece of the triangle. That being said, the next piece is up in Siberia, Russia, again on the opposite side of the planet, which is how they were supposed to trade off the piece of the triangle. Although, you know, the origin story of this triangle doesn't... So, the whole thing is that it fell from the sky in a meteorite. It was forged from the metal in that meteorite, but abuse of the triangle's power caused the entire city built around this place to be destroyed, so they divided it in two so nobody could ever use it again. But if that's the point, why didn't they just destroy it completely? Like, they made it accessible. I know it's only accessible every 5,000 years, which, you know, isn't exactly a reasonable way to get a hold of such an artifact, but it's still possible to get. And if it was that dangerous, why not just destroy it from the get-go? I don't understand. Anyway, I'm not going to try to facilitate the logic of ancient civilizations here. I'm just going to continue into this scene where there's the creepy ghost girl. This time in Siberia. I don't get the ghost girl thing. It doesn't make any sense. I don't understand. There's sled dogs. They go inside, and now there's a weird thing. You know, as weird as that thing is, this is very Tomb Raider of them. Like, this whole thing, this whole weird mechanism when it starts spinning and the platforming and jumping nonsense, no. This could easily be converted into a puzzle for a Tomb Raider game. That's exactly what they frickin' look like. Mashups of nonsense. Though admittedly, I will admit at this point that this action beat here isn't actually as good as the first temple, which bothers me. I feel like the highlight of this film is in the middle, not the end. The end is good, but the middle was so overwhelmingly awesome, it's kind of hard to beat that when your final beat involves a spinny, orby planet thing. I don't know what's happening. Lara figures out the puzzle first, because of course she friggin' does, activates the mechanism, and gets the second piece. And then Manfred betrays the Illuminati, kills the head of it, and takes the power for himself, because he's a jerk like that. Now, Manfred then realizes that this isn't working. The pieces aren't actually realigning. And you know, did anyone consider the fact that maybe you can't put them back together once they're broken? No, seriously. Like, imagine breaking a rock. You know, like a regular old rock, because this thing is just metal, some weird space metal that can control time, but still metal. So like, if you broke a rock and then tried to put it back together, he's like, this rock, it doesn't work. Like, yeah, it doesn't work. Of course it doesn't work. It's just two pieces of metal. You just need to try to weld them. But he's thinking, no, this thing should magically fuse together. That's what the temple artifacts say. And he forces Lara, who he believes has already figured out the answer to this, to help him by killing Alex and saying that he can only save him by helping him restore the triangle. Question: why does Lara care what happens to Alex? I don't get that. Alex and her have a weird relationship, but it's clear from the very beginning that she straight up does not like him. Because he's not really a nice guy. So why would she care that Manfred killed him? I don't understand. I mean, obviously she does somewhat, but how did Manfred even begin to acknowledge that? And how are we as the audience supposed to know that when up until this point she's been clearly dismissive of him in every conceivable way because he's annoying, selfish, and conceited? I don't get it. I know the man's James Bond, but he's still a jerk. Lara figures out there's actually a third piece to this thing. Wait, this shot is weird. She got up here on one of the leg parts of this mechanism, but now she's getting out of the water here. I don't get it. What's happening? It's like if I walked off this way and came in this way. Like, it doesn't make any sense, and it confuses everybody, including me. I have no idea what just happened. So she gets it, puts it on the triangle, and suddenly weird stuff happens. Like, suddenly they're running up a pyramid. I don't know how they got there. I don't know why they ended up here. I know they're both running up to get it. And of course Lara wins because, as one does, and then she uses the power to see her dad again. Which is sweet. But then her dad's like, yo, this was dumb. You can't control time. Because butterfly effects and stuff. I mean, imagine the horrible, stupid nonsense that would be caused if someone were literally controlling and changing time. I mean, listen, have you ever seen Back to the Future? That explains the whole mechanics at that point. You can't just give all this power to one person, even if it's being used with good intentions. Butterfly effects and chaos theory will get in the way of that, and you will screw something up. And her dad is well aware of that. She, on the other hand, is a bit more insistent that she could at least bring back her parents, which I get her desire to do that, but his point is that, no, sweetie, no, let's not do that. You have to destroy the triangle. So she does use the triangle to save Alex's life, for some reason, by forcing... Hold on. I have to understand this scene real quick. So she turns the knife in time, and it flies backwards with the same force that it was flying forwards. Now, I don't know how time mechanics weigh into physics, but I would think the force would still be going the same direction whether you turn the knife or not? I don't know. I mean, Manfred gets stabbed, so that's cool, but I still don't get it. Also, Lara shoots the thing, and again, this brings up my earlier point. The ancients could have just blown the thing up with anything. Like it disintegrates as soon as she hits it with one bullet and you're done. I don't understand. So this place is collapsing now that they destroyed the triangle for some reason. I don't know, Tomb Raider places always just fall apart as soon as Lara's done there, so I'll take it. In any event, Manfred challenges Lara to a final one-on-one because he reveals he's the one that killed her father, and he has the watch thingy with her mother's picture in it, and she's like, oh, I'm gonna kick your ass. And then he's like, no, you're not. Not with guns anyway. Let's go mano a mano, or mano a mano, whatever we're dealing with here. You know, I get that Manfred isn't just a lawyer, and is actually trained in combat arts, like, way more than you'd think, but how does he think he can go fisticuffs with Lara Croft? He does get a few good shots in, but she literally kills him by crushing his throat with a single punch, which is pretty hardcore, not gonna lie. She gets out of there. Mission accomplished. Everything's safe. Her and Alex don't talk again after that. Because again, he really wasn't a very nice guy. I don't know why she cared about his death that much. It was sweet that she saved him though. And then we get a final piece where Lara's being challenged by Simon to another round of training in the middle of the Croft manor that they just finished repairing. I feel like she shouldn't do that in this room. She's gonna do it anyway. This was a pretty good movie. It has a lot of flaws. I'm not gonna say it's perfect, but in terms of translating a game directly into movie format, I really do believe that Tomb Raider did it far better than most movies did. Most movies based on video games try to reference the games, but they also really like doing their own thing. It's not always pitch perfect whenever you put it in a movie format, but this is the one time where it was clear that the writers were trying to not only enhance Lara Croft's universe, but also stay loyal to the initial lore that was presented, to the point that I can't stress enough, Crystal Dynamics actually used a lot of elements from this movie in their later entries in the series. And if that doesn't tell you that they introduced some good concepts in this movie, I don't know what else will. Angelina Jolie was perfect for the role, the supporting cast was awesome, the story was full-tier Tomb Raider, the action beats were fantastic, and despite my few gripes, I think in terms of a video game movie, this is definitely worth a watch, especially if you're a Tomb Raider fan. But that is not the end of this story, is it? Because I know you guys. I know exactly what's about to happen. Everyone wants to know. Darkness, what do you think of Cradle of Life, the second Tomb Raider movie? Oh boy. I'll see you guys next week. Till next time, this is Darkness, and I bid you all a fond farewell.